First and foremost, I have been away, obviously. Away not from the internet, I guess, but away from the pod. There's like 2 or 3 reasons for it, whatever. First and foremost, I've been making this pod with Bysistent and love Bysistent, and she's gonna be back, for an episode here or there, whatever. She's just very disorganized. And that is extremely difficult to deal with when you have as many projects as I do, that require as much output as it requires. Let me put my other glasses on. I can't really pull all-nighters all the time, and I also cannot just be posting randomly. I need a structure because I have 2 channels and a podcast, a literature club. By the way, there's a literature club on Patreon where we read a book every 2 weeks or like a text, and then we discuss it on live. But the point is, I got kind of knocked out of my groove. The amount of times that I had to scramble and put together an episode 2 days before the episode is supposed to be out, or the amount of times I had to edit for the entire night just for the episode to be on time, or sometimes 2 days late, even though I was editing it and whatever, it just takes time, obviously. I was just really tired, and then the expectations for my content on my main channel, not so much on my gaming channel, thank God, because there we just kind of hang out. This is why I created that channel, is because I needed some space where I could just put out silly little videos the way that I used to in the beginning of my career on YouTube. But basically now, the expectations that people have for my content are really high to compare to how much I'm actually making from this. And even though I would do this, I like doing this, it is very difficult to do this in this economy, and it's just I'm just tired. That's what I'm saying, basically. And on my main channel, I put out a video, and it takes so long to do research for it, to make it engaging, and to create a video that kind of combines more popular culture interests, or more indie popular culture interests, and some kind of history or theory or whatever, and actually make it interesting for people to watch. It's a bit difficult to combine it properly. It takes quite a bit of time. So for example, I'm reading 5 theory books with a bunch of academic texts. Sometimes I arrive at a point where I'm I don't agree with any of them, so now I have to kind of synthesize my own take on things, obviously, as I usually things that I discuss are things where I actually have something to add. But it gets really, really frustrating when my high effort videos don't perform, for example. And also, YouTube is a freaky platform. I stopped posting on Spotify, right? Because of Spotify being involved with drones production, military industrial complex. I didn't want to contribute to their success even a little bit. I don't have a big platform in terms of the podcast, but even a little bit is too much for me. So I stopped uploading it there. And then YouTube fucking goes ahead and signs a contract with a place, an apartheid state that shall not be named, because once again, I am on this platform and they really don't like it when you say certain words now, okay? It's okay, so what the fuck am I to do with this? This is not a conversation of oh, I don't want to be limiting where I'm posting things, whatever the fuck. It's more I'm so tired of every decision being a bad decision. No matter what I decide, it's never gonna give me a peace of mind, because none of those decisions are gonna give me the ability to not feel like there is some kind of responsibility that, or some kind of part of responsibility for whatever is going on is on my shoulders. It's just exhausting. Anyway, so with the way that my main channel is going, that I was I would be posting something that took 300 years to fucking make, and research and present well, some type of the type of bullshit that people get paid $200K in universities for. Why am I doing this? Well, because I think that it's important for people to know about this information, especially nowadays. But regardless of that, after that, there's kind of this expectation for my content where I can't put out a lot of videos. For example, people like ContraPoints that everyone brings up or whatever. She could do this shit because she's already rich. Let's start there. Second of all, she could already post things. Like she could get editors and pay them well and whatever. Like she could have people to research things if she needed somebody to do that. But most of all, she had time, and she can release one video a year or whatever, and it would be fine. This is not the type of thing that I could do or anybody else could do who is in this situation. I would hesitate to call myself an influencer, just because I think you would have to be a lot better at selling shit than me, and actually be able to make, like, monetize a platform as stable. Like, my platform was very stable. It just doesn't make much money because I'm bad at monetizing shit, okay? I'm just not a salesperson. And I don't know what to tell you, but I don't particularly want to be one. And I would be in academia right now, like doing research and other things like that, if it would have been something that I could afford to continue to do. This is not the case. I don't think it's a financially smart decision for me to do more schooling, okay? Anyway, so I'm like in a funk already because I feel like there's a pressure for me to continuously put out videos that are heavily researched, to the point where even people who are specifically like working in that direction would think that this video is well researched, which is like really difficult to do. And I don't think that I've always been able to achieve that. Now, at the same time, my channel still has some entertainment value, obviously, because I'm still making videos on nostalgic media, like breaking it down, different types of franchises, whatever the fuck. But those videos also take a lot. It's just not that easy to make. That's like whatever. I don't need to put out a lot of videos, I guess, especially on my main channel or whatever. But I started to feel this pressure with the podcast. And this is where the problem is. The podcast needs to be continuous. It needs to be every week, at least, for it to have an audience. And I understand that some of you will be like, well, you don't have to. You can like post like once in a while, whatever. And like, that's true, I could. It's not gonna make me any money. Again, it's gonna be like a lot of work, because the research that I'm doing, it's not like 2 hours and then I'm done. It's a lot of shit. And then at the end of it all, I have a product that will make me like $20 at most. And I'm not even talking about the podcast. The podcast makes like $4 per episode. But this isn't to say, like, by the way, this is not to say that, oh, it's like somehow for you to fix or something like that. No. I'm just telling you the thought process here and why it took me a while to come back. And it is because, like, I started the podcast to be a combination of pop culture and art and actual like fine arts and cultural conversations that are kind of combining my academic background with whatever I'm doing here, because I think that it is the easiest way to talk to the public, to a wider group of people, to more people who are not in the arts, and expose them to information that is usually kept behind closed doors for the elites, Because I think that it's actually something that everyone deserves. I think that the arts should be just a part of life for everybody. It should not be a thing that you only do as a job, or the only thing that you do in terms of, honestly, many things. But then over time, I started to, like, there's just inescapable influences outside of my interests that I kind of feel the responsibility to talk about. But also, I'm gonna be real with you. Whenever people are like, yeah, you don't have to feel obligated to talk about like serious issues or whatever the fuck. And the problem that I'm having is that it's not even just like the obligation, is the fact that I actually cannot think of anything else, because the state of affairs in the world has robbed me of joy in every aspect of my life, in every aspect, in terms of my interests. The art people piss me off. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the amount of people I found out who I went to school with, who are like kids of diplomats, turns out, who are literally selling out their country, creating unimaginable damage, destabilizing their places of heritage, like places where they come from, for the sake of imperialists. it's just so frustrating to be around these people, and the fact that like I'm not even around them that much anymore, but it's still one of those things where I'm like, holy fuck, this is the type of people that I'm rubbing shoulders with. This is the type of people who decide whether if I'm a good reliable coworker, or things that I'm working on, whether those things are worth time or investment, fiscal or just time wise or whatever the hell, right? It's just very disturbing. And I guess I've talked about this before, that it's just very, very difficult to exist in a world where your success is determined by whether people you really dislike to their core like you. Do you know what I mean? Like, we technically shouldn't like each other. It's okay that they don't. It's actually a compliment to me. But the fact that the world is built by this twisted logic to the point where there is nowhere to go and nothing to do to create at least some sort of stability for yourself and your family, where when you don't have like literally an evil streak, it is really disturbing. It's the whole situation is gross. And the name of this episode is going to be really funky, I guess, especially for those of you who are not familiar with me and you're opening this for the first time because you're mad about the title. Welcome, I guess. Also, get it together. You can't seriously be mad about that when the world is in the state that it's in. And also, on top of it all, the reason why I'm bringing up fucking Taylor Swift today and Charli XCX and whatnot, not because I think that they're important in terms of like, oh my god, this is just newsworthy, you know what I mean? It's because we live in a world where they occupy a huge, huge part of what is our visual reality, I guess. We are bombarded by information about celebrities all the time. That's why I actually bring them into conversation here on this channel, not because they themselves is what I want to talk about, but because they are oftentimes a reflection of some of the issues that we need to talk about. And right now, first and foremost, Taylor Swift released an album yesterday, or like the day before, fuck knows. Everyone on Twitter started talking about that song that she made about Charli XCX, right? It's like a really stupid song, by the way. The lyrics, this is lyrics that I would be a little bit embarrassed by if I wrote them when I was like 17. I would be kind of a bit embarrassed about that by the time I'd be 18, do you know what I mean? But writing that at 35 is just like diabolical. Regardless, the lyrics, we need to talk about them because this is what's bothering me about this more than anything else, because I have seen just how many people are quoting these stupid lyrics. I need to actually start by saying that Taylor Swift is a litmus test for the type of state that we're in culturally, not because she is so good at being a reflection of society, as in like artists commenting on reality around them and being like really cutting edge or something like that. The reason as to why she's a litmus test is because she is the aspiration of an average American majority, okay? And that includes a lot of people who are not white, because it's just the influence of white supremacy it's a lot. She has always been the type of person to like obsess about romance and whatever. Once again, that's pretty much very normal for majority of people. The problem here that I have with this album is that this is such a bad sign of how bad things are right now, because her albums always had a certain palatability for the right-wingers. But now this album is definitely showing how far the left of America, in quotations, the left of America, I'm not talking about actual leftists, I'm talking about people who think they're leftists but they're actually right-wingers. By that I mean specifically Democrats. Once again, if you're not familiar and you're an American, you're like, what do you mean Democrats are right-wing? Please look up international definitions of what a right-winger and a left-winger is, because this is not what we refer to as the left in political science. I'm begging you to look it up, okay? I have explained it multiple times, so I'm not going to do it again. But the fact that Taylor Swift mostly appeals to a very, very wide demographic because she's kind of tepid enough that she could be liked by Democrats and Republicans. Now, with this album, you can see how far right everyone collectively shifted, because this is their idea of a progressive, independent woman. The problem here is that this is the type of album and the type of lyrics that are really showing you just how influential this can be on the younger generation and on the current generation. And the fact that those boss babes of the pink, of millennial pink pussy hats, feminists, the fact that they are here now, not everyone obviously, but a lot of people, and the fact that even those people are shifting to the right, even though they were just commenting how Gen Z is too much to the right to compare to millennials or whatever the fuck. The fact that even those BuzzFeed level Democrats and like progressives are here, this is a really big issue. And I understand that to many of you this might be like, it's just an album of whatever. This isn't whatever because Taylor Swift is always gonna be tepid. It's her whole point as an artist. This is why she can make so much money off of this, is her wide appeal. The fact that this is wide appeal is what the problem is. Not because it's vapid, because I was kind of expecting that from like the name. I was like, oh, the life of a showgirl. I assume since she's like happy now in a relationship that she doesn't want to write breakup songs or whatever the hell, and she is feeling more like she wants to tap into her 1989 bag, you know, going back to this fun pop star definition of what she wants to do with an album, especially considering that she was going back to Shellback and Max Martin or whatever the fuck his name is. You know who I'm talking about. I was expecting us like just a full album of just bangers, just songs that are really catchy, and that's about it. I thought she was gonna go into that kind of route, okay? But what we got is such bullshit. I genuinely, like, this is, and this is not even about the drastic difference in quality or whatever the hell. The melodies are catchy. The production is actually pretty good. Like, the producers did snap on that. But the lyrics, I know I've been setting it up for so long, but I'm just like so tired and it's just so fucking tragic. But anyway, the first song that we open with is The Fate of Ophelia, and right away the entire song is basically just her being like, oh, I swore my loyalty to me, myself, and I right before you lit my sky up. All of the wording, this is the type of shit that would get you torched in like 2012. Remember when Selena Gomez released a song called Good For You, and she was like, I want to just like look good for you, whatever the hell, and she got torched? Yeah, that wouldn't happen today, I assume, because we're so, I guess it's an American, maybe it's not even an American issue. God, I wish it was just an American issue. I feel like it's international, but so many people are so chill with the fashy shit because they are still financially okay. And this is why you have to understand human physical conditions, material conditions around them, and why it's so important for politics is because you can have this bullshit going on in a country and you're going to have a whole lot of people who are not that affected because of the financial status, like they still have a job, for example, and they will still not fucking like see what's going on. They will genuinely be like, yeah, it's kind of bad, but like not that bad. You know what I mean? Because they don't feel it on their backs. Point being, the fact that, for example, this song phrases it instead of being like, oh, I swear my loyalty to me, myself, and I, and after that, I've met somebody who's like my match or something like that. Instead of that, which would be something that is not at all deep, not at all anything, but it would have had a different messaging. Instead of that, we're getting this bullshit of I swore my loyalty to me, myself, and I right before you lit up my sky. Now she doesn't swear that loyalty to herself, obviously, of course. Now, anyway, this song is basically being like, oh my God, you saved me from the fate of Ophelia of being like in melancholy. She also keeps referring to herself as the eldest daughter. By the way, I need to see if he's the youngest son. Travis. By the way, the fact that I know a name of an American football player is just so sick. Like, disgusting. I'm so sorry. It's just so gross. Ugh. Anyway, parents, siblings, Jason, Kelsey. Jason is 37. Okay, so he is the younger brother. This is gonna be relevant later, but yeah, it's basically like, oh my god, the eldest daughter of a nobleman. And like, yeah, fucking obviously, like, she grew up rich. It was already it's funny how much they were pushing for the whole like self-made shit during her first album and second album. Remember that? Yeah, because I do. Anyway, kept it 100. On the land, the sea, the sky. Pledge allegiance to your hands, your team, your vibes. Pledge allegiance. They, and I know once again, there's gonna be a legion of people in the comments being like, this, it's not that deep. It is fucking that deep, bitch. Because this language is like, it wasn't normal. This type of shit, especially considering that Taylor Swift has always been really meticulous about her lyrics. I'm not saying that she writes great lyrics all the time or ever or anything. This is not a assessment of the quality of those lyrics in terms of like how good it is as poetry, you know? This is an assessment of how well it is analyzed through the perspective of a PR person. You know what I mean? Like, she's been meticulous about that shit because she doesn't want to get caught in anything that she didn't start. And clearly, this is exactly what she meant to say. So pledge allegiance to your team, your vibe. First of all, the whole American football thing will always be tightly tied to the American nationalism and the national identity, you know? There's a reason why the rest of the world calls it American football, because to us, that's not football, you know? Like, football is a different game. So it's always going to be tied to America and American values and whatever, and to what, Thanksgiving, right? I guess. I think. No, I think you have a separate thing. I think you guys have like a separate thing for it, like Super Bowl day, night, something along those lines. But you get it, you get it. Anyway, this, honey, this is not an accident. Keeping it 100 on the land, the sea, and the sky. Pledge allegiance to your hands, your team, your vibes. First of all, horrible, these lyrics. This is something that you write when you're 14 and then you're embarrassed because, like, your team, your vibes. Okay, whatever. Aside the fact that this is kind of, this is not accidental. This is not an accident, guys. And it might be an accident to Taylor because she hasn't noticed how much she's slid to the right herself. Mayhaps she didn't notice it. I think she did because she is very hyper aware of what people are saying, and clearly she did not give a fuck when she was dating Matt Healy. She didn't give a fuck that he just said the most vile shit imaginable about black women. Not a single fuck was given, except she did do her PR crisis. I don't know what even to call that. She basically cleaned up her look in the public by collaborating with Ice Spice immediately after, which, I mean, whatever, that song was also bad karma. Anyway, and this is coming from somebody. I liked Taylor Swift when I was growing up. Granted, I did not speak English back then, and my understanding of her lyrics was from translations and stuff like that, so there was always this like layer of deniability between us. And also, I kind of started to get uncomfortable about a lot of things culturally speaking as soon as I moved to North America, and I realized how much about her behavior is weird. Like, for example, trying to become a Kennedy. Not just how crazy it is to, you know, go after a guy who's that young or whatever the hell. The problem is, obviously that's bad enough, but it's also just the concept of wanting to be a Kennedy. Like, all right, girl, whatever. Anyway, so, and I don't even think that she's an exceptionally bad writer. There's a lot of lyrics that I do enjoy by her, but she has such bad moments sometimes in her lyricism that really, really takes you back, and you're kind of like, wow, I did not realize someone could, like, seriously write that down and think that's a finished song. Anyway, It's locked inside my memory, and only you possess the key, no longer drowning and deceived, all because you came for me. That particular lyric of Pledge and Allegiance. If you're like, oh, it's just a metaphor, we're just starting, bitch. So sit down. God, all the websites that have lyrics on them are so laggy, it's disgusting. Father figure. I didn't really feel any particular way about this song, but eldest daughter is where we're getting into it. So first of all, once again, everybody's so punk on the internet. Everyone's unbothered till they're not. Every joke's just just trolling and memes. Sad as it seems, apathy is hot. That's the thing. She could have, like, sad as it seems, apathy is hot is an okay lyric, but everything else around it, like, for example, the fact that she's, everybody's so punk on the internet. Do you know what punk is? I don't think you do, because why would you use that? And then being like, I'm not a bad bitch and this isn't savage. She wouldn't have used the word savage a few years ago because, again, she would get torched for using a word that is so loaded, especially in the American context. And also, I just don't understand for the life of me why she always uses the words traitor and smooth operator. Is it me, or did she already use smooth operators before multiple times? It's like something about just traitors and smooth operators all the fucking time. This song had so much potential based on the name, eldest daughter. Nothing about this is as good as it should have been and could have been. And then the fact that she said every eldest daughter was the first lamb to the slaughter, which is a pretty good lyric, and then followed it up with, so we all dressed up as wolves and we looked fire. I just... The worst part here is not like that lyric in particular, but this. When I said I don't believe in marriage, that was a lie. And I just know there's going to be annoying people in the comments being like, well, I lied about that before too. Well, maybe keep it to your damn fucking self. If you're that much of a little bitch that you can't say what you mean, and then now you're making it everybody else's problem, especially in this political climate when we can't even have rights over our bodies and they're trying to take away more of our rights as women. You are out there trying to normalize the idea or actually support the solidification of this fucking concept of no meaning yes. The fact of the matter is, saying it like that, this is what you always hear when you say to people that you, for example, you're not interested in marrying or dating or doing anything, like whatever it is. There's always going to be some bitch who's going to be especially talking about this stupid shit, like, well, you're gonna change your mind. You're gonna change your mind about kids, for example. This is a common one for many people. You're gonna change your mind about that. And it's like, it's very similar to the way that people talk about politics, as especially politics that involves actually having empathy. Everyone's always like, well, when you're gonna grow up, you're gonna become a right winger, and it's like, no, because I'm not a loser. I don't know. Also, everyone in my family who are fucking 90 now still never went to the right side because they're not fucking freaks. So I don't know what the hell she was thinking writing this down, because the thing is, there's going to be someone being like, and this is not that deep. It is, because the problem here is that she could have said, I said that I don't believe in marriage, right? Or whatever the hell. But then say something along the lines of, like, even acknowledging that you fell in love and that you want it now is better than saying that you lied back then. Because this is the implication that's so bad about this. And if this would have been the only lyric that was involving this type of bullshit on this album, I would give it to you. I would be like, okay, maybe whatever. But because it's surrounded by so much bullshit, and because Taylor in the past 2 years, the amount of times she's been cozying up with fucking maggots is just sick, okay? And it's just so gross on so many levels, I don't even know. And then she has, she writes, every youngest child felt they were raised up in the wild, but now you're home. Ray. Because, you know, he's the youngest child. He's now home. He was all raised in the wild without supervision, but now he's got supervision. He's got his mummy. He's got his mummy. I love this. If she didn't mean to write it that way, she should have written it in a different way. That's what I'm gonna tell you. Yeah, the next thing is actually romantic, and once again, yeah, I wrote that title because fuck both of them. In this environment, both of them are so, they're grossing me out. And this is kind of like the thing, like, you know, I was watching, I was just like scrolling on Instagram or something like that, and one of the people I know who was at the I think it was New York Fashion Week or some shit like that. Maybe it was the Paris one. Fuck knows. But basically, they were working there and they were filming. They were like commenting on this designer. I think it was was it the Dior designer who was kind of like teary-eyed at the end of the collection? I was like, you know, at any other point, maybe this would have been tolerable. But at this point, I can't believe that this is the type of disparity that we have in the world, and we're supposed to just take it. We're supposed to just fucking chew it up and swallow that shit and be happy. Pretend like we're so grateful for the situation that this world is in right now. And every single piece on that runway was making me feel sick. And the thing is, I love art. I love beautiful fabrics and stuff like that. I am one of those people who likes nice things, okay? And the fact of the matter is, everything that I'm seeing now is just tainted with piss and shit and blood because it's just so gross. Everything is so gross because of how unequal this world is. The lack of equality is so disgusting. So with the actually romantic song, I saw people being like, well, Charli wrote that song like sympathy is a knife, being like, oh my god, I feel so insecure around all of these girls who are like better than me. Who gives a shit? I'm sorry, huh? Taylor herself talking about in this song being like, oh my god, you high-fived my ex and then you said you're glad that he ghosted me. Oh my god, you're talking about Maddie Healy. By the way, why the fuck are both of you so chill with him? The fact of the matter is, I even liked the 1975, but he's a freak. Like, he's just doesn't want to, like, whatever it is, if he's just a reactionary or a contrarian, he can fuck himself, honestly. At this point, the contrarianism is nothing. Nihilism is a fucking form of sickness, okay? That's only allowed but discouraged in the populations that are affected dramatically by the state of the world. Not you, motherfuckers. I don't want to hear none of you. It's just so gross. Like, this album just solidified to me that Taylor is now, this is right-wing propaganda for real. But it's actually sweet. All the time you spend on me. The fact that she wrote, you know what, whatever. And this is the reason why I named this episode what I named it. Because, like, yeah, I don't give a shit. Both of them are not worth any sympathy, really. Because what are we even sympathetic about, huh? We can't even get a flotilla over with fucking baby formula to people who are starving. But you know what? Charli deserves our sympathy. Sympathy is a knife. I swear to God, just sick. This stupid song, Wishlist. Holy shit. Okay, so we've got our capitalist Barbie, right? Who is fucking obsessed with profit. She was groomed by everyone, and I don't mean groomed in a, you know, that kind of way. She was brought up by everyone in her life to be a shareholder Barbie, a capitalist Barbie, which is something that she clearly is. Now, the fact that she wrote a song where she's like, they want that yacht life under chopper blades, they want those bright lights and Balenci shades, and a fat ass with a baby face, they want it all. They want that complex female character, they want that critical smash, Palme d'Or, and an Oscar on their bathroom floor. They want it all. And they should have what they want. They deserve what they want. Hope they get what they want. This is key for every capitalist is to be like, I wish all of you happiness. I wish all of you get what you want, and you will get it based on your merit. That's why I can sit down and say that I'm very grateful for what I have. And I worked really hard to have what I have. So I am completely absolved of any responsibility because I also, you guys, I'm positive and grateful. Okay. The West with their stupid ass gratefulness. Like you can do whatever you want. You can take someone's shit right in front of everyone. Sit down and be like, I'm so grateful for having this shit. I can't believe God helped me get this, gifted me with this. I manifested it so hard. And people would be like, you're so right. Oh my God, she's so positive, and like, why would people be mad at her? She didn't steal, she manifested. What the hell? I just want you. The girlie who's got over $1 billion, who keeps on flying 3,000 times a day, absolutely demolishing the environment for all of us who are struggling already. She's saying, I just want you, Travis. Have a couple kids. A lady who wrote that, do you remember she wrote that letter being like, something about like, I don't remember, but basically she was like writing a letter where she was kind of, actually, I think she was, oh wait, basically she was responding to somebody about something sexist or whatever the hell, and she was like she signed that letter or that statement by being like, oh, Taylor Swift, cat mom, or like a mom of 3 cats, or childless cat woman, something like that. The fans, you remember anyway. So and then the same girl is like, have a couple kids, got the whole block looking like you. We tell the world to leave us alone, and they do. Got me dreaming about a driveway with a basketball hoop. Boss up, settle down, got a wish list. I just want you. They want that freedom, living off the grid. They want those 3 dogs that they call their kids. 3 cats that you call your kids? No? You know what cracked me up? The line that's like, have a couple kids, got a whole block looking like you. How are you supposed to just make a whole block look like a person by having a couple of kids? That's not how it works. I don't think a whole block is gonna look like you because of that, first of all. Second of all, this sounds like a threat. When I hear 2 Westerners, especially Americans who are white, saying that they need to breed to make sure that a whole block looks like them, I get uncomfortable. Sorry to say. Sounds like a threat to me, Taylor. I don't like it. And the funniest part is that all the people who are going to be most affected by this in terms of like normalization of shit, it's young people who are not gonna be ever as rich as her, so they would be feeling all the effects of the rights being taken away and stuff like that. Because Taylor Swift, she's never gonna be affected by anything that's going on in America. Nothing is going to affect her, whether it is like, even if they make all fucking abortions illegal, if they make owning bank accounts illegal, I am gonna assure you, she will go to Cayman fucking Islands. She will do whatever it is to keep her money secure. She will have access to anything and everything she wants. She will be, and she hopes to be, that auntie who provides you with a luxury abortion and then winks at the table telling you that we girls should look out for each other, because she likes having that much control, not giving a shit that the control overall of the whole group of people is in jeopardy. Anyway, the next song is A Wood, which is really, really sad that this song is this bad lyrics-wise, because it's so catchy, bitch. It's so catchy. I would have listened to it, okay? If it wouldn't have been this fucking gross. And also the melody of like, I ain't gotta knock on wood. I was sitting there like, it reminds me of something. If you want a good song that gives that vibe, but it's actually like a really, really good song, and you don't have to worry about lyrics like this, listen to Red Velvet's Knock on Wood. If that's what you're looking for and you're kind of bummed out like me because you can't listen to these lyrics without gagging, please go ahead and listen to that. But all of that bitching, wishing, this is where it's getting freakalicious. Ugh, okay. Forgive me, it sounds cocky. He ahmatized me, which means stigmatized me, this is the type of thing that you use as an insult, you know, when someone is acting like a freak, not getting shit done like an adult should be, you know, like if your friend is acting like a goddamn fool, they're really pissing you off because they can't get their shit together because they are like with a new partner and they're like in a honeymoon phase, but they're going overboard with not taking care of their responsibilities. That's when you, oh my god, you're stigmatized and you need to get it together. You do not use it in this context, okay? Because this is an insult. It's not it's not a thing that you use like this. Anyway, he stigmatized me and opened my eyes. Oh. Redwood tree, it ain't hard to see. His love was the key that opened my thighs. Oh my god. Girls, I don't need to catch a bouquet to know a hard rock is on the way. And baby, I'll admit, I've been a little superstitious. The curse on me was broken by your magic wand, okay? New heights of manhood. I ain't gonna knock on wood. And then we end with that thighs lyric being repeated twice. Listen, again, if this song would have been the only song like this on the entire album, I would have given it to you. Kind of like Karma, you know? It's like, okay, the lyrics are really bad, but like whatever, you know, it's catchy, I guess. And especially this one, I don't think Karma is as catchy as Wood, but this is so bad in context of all the other songs. And once again, I was under the impression we were gonna get bangers here. I was under the impression that we were going to discuss what's so difficult about being a showgirl, by the way, which we don't really get. Now, the canceled song, this is really bad in context as well. Once again, this is a song that's like, oh, I love my friends canceled, whatever, which is like fair enough in terms of like misogynistic backlash that, for example, Blake Lively is getting because of Jackson Baldoni, something Baldoni, you know what I mean? That bullshit. Like, okay, fair enough. But the thing is, she's also getting backlash because she got married on a plantation, which I think is fair criticism. I still don't understand why you still have those. And not as a museum that you can't even like have events at. I don't know what's going on there, but whatever. And this is the type of lyrics that are really confusing to me because I don't understand why. Like, beware of the wrath of mask. Did your girl boss too close to the sun? And again, you know, a lot of people were quoting this lyric being like, oh, this is so bad, whatever. And it's like, yeah, but you know, at least like, again, if the rest of the song would have been good in terms of lyrics, then that lyric would have been like, oh, she's quoting like an online popular joke or whatever the hell, which isn't really like, it's hard to pull it off in a song form, you know, like it's kind of cheap. It cheapens the entire thing, right? But technically speaking, it could have been fine, but just combine with everything else and be like, did they catch you having far too much fun? Come with me. Something wicked this way comes. Good thing I like my friends canceled. I like them cloaked in Gucci and in scandal. Of course you do. Of course you do. First of all, Gucci itself already. And of course, she might have used it on purpose. It's just making it worse because like those people are assholes. This is not a thing of like, because, you know, we all know that cancel culture can be toxic and there are people who don't deserve this and whatever the hell. But then there's also a lot of just, I don't know, people like Diddy who only get like 4 years in prison after doing 20, 25, 30 years of damage to an innumerable amount of people. Do you know what I mean? Like, at least not now, bitch. At least not say all that now. It's easy to love you when you're popular. The optics click, everyone prospers. Tone deaf and hot, let's fucking off her. Yeah, dude, it's not because you're tone deaf and hot. It's because you are a part of a structure, you love it. You love that structure. You love that ideology. You love neoliberalism and capitalism and absolutely destroying the environment. It's all your bread and butter. And the more she speaks like this, the more I lose any semblance of like wanting to give her any sort of leeway. Or because the thing is, I grew up with her music, so to me she was always still like, I wanted to give her a bit of leeway, because you do get kind of a bit more soft-hearted to people that you see for such a long time, and get connected with their music and stuff like that. You know, it's only natural. But just so dumb. The worst part is this goddamn lyric. At least you know exactly who your friends are. They're the ones with matching scars. You're not 13. I need you to get it together. And the worst part is that she's writing it right in the middle of hanging out with a bunch of MAGA people, with a bunch of women who literally stood by rapists. At this point, I don't even know what to say anymore. This is not funny. This is not good. In the song Honey, she literally goes, when anyone called me sweetheart, it was passive aggressive, and the bitch was telling me to back off because her man had looked at me wrong. Remember, I think maybe it was 8 years ago, 7? I don't remember how many years ago it was, but remember when she had a whole thing about the word bitch, you know, which I think was fair enough. Not just with Kanye. I remember that I think that she was kind of talking about how like calling someone a bitch, like whatever. Like she took a stance on that word specifically because it was used against her, which I thought was fair at the time, obviously. But now she's just calling somebody a bitch in her song because why not? Girl, this is just... And I'm not saying that I'm disappointed because I've already known who Taylor is, but she's usually treading on the safe side, and this is now the safe side. This is not an album where she's kind of trying to be controversial. This is very, very, very palatable. Not a single fan of hers or her business partner is going to be mad about this album. And this is kind of what the problem is, that this is our middle now. Do you understand how bad shit is? Like, this is just culturally speaking is showing us what the hell is going on. Anyway, and there's no like people who are like, well, she's in love, what's wrong with that? And I'm like, okay, listen, this is not the problem that anyone is having. Well, I mean, at least not me. I'm not having a problem with her being in love, but this isn't great. You know what I mean? Like all of this. And if any of you are like, well, Charli, at least Charli this, at least Charli that. Charli is also a dick. Clearly also not particularly bright either. Her interview in that New York City subway situation with that man, where she's like, oh, artistry is important, music is not important, whatever. Who gives a shit about any of that, really? Because none of you are artists. And on top of it all, it's mostly because none of you are acting human. Almost fucking all of you, or all of you, like celebrities, have lost touch with what it is to be human. I don't know what's wrong with you, and I don't think I want to know. I don't think I give a shit to know, to be honest. Obviously, there are some people who are not like this or whatever. But what I'm trying to say is, no, I don't have sympathy for poor little Charli because she was dragged by fucking Taylor Swift in the most cringe way possible. Both of them can go. I can't do it with anybody anymore. I'm tired of this shit. Whatever. I'm back. And next time I will respond to some of your questions that you have left in the community tab, community post, because I did ask you if you guys have any questions or whatever. If you have any, you can leave them here obviously too, but there are some that I'm going to be answering next episode. Hope you're having a good day. Bye.